Survivor Specialist Phil and Alexa are back with our episode 5 recap for Survivor Game Changers in what I will say is a nice follow-up to last week's episode where I had a bad taste in my mouth after somebody goes home. Tonight was just pure entertainment, I feel like, the entire time. There's definitely some things that annoyed the hell out of me. But for the most part, I thought this episode had one of probably the best stories that we've seen in a while, and also probably one of the best game moves ever. And I'm going to say that Sandra was unreal tonight. Just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, anyone who thinks that Sandra has floated her way to 2 wins has no arguments left, because that was quite the gameplay. We had, we'll talk about this, Phil, but we had a JT's 1-episode arc with this idol. We had Debbie's explosion. We had a lot going on during the challenges. Tavua is still killing it. We got a lot to cover tonight.
We definitely do. And yeah, JT finding that idol right off the bat, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, Sandra's gone tonight. Like, this is it. Sandra's done. And by the end of that episode, I'm sitting there going, how is this between JT and Michaela? And how has Sandra convinced JT that he is safe? It just unbelievable by Sandra. Really just incredible. Jeff Varner is playing also a great game, much more subdued, but still very, very, very impressive from both of those players tonight.
And if we have a threesome of Jeff Varner, Michaela, and Sandra, is that the sassiest alliance that we've ever had in Survivor history? Those three are just absolutely crazy.
I don't know what would top it. Sandra's sitting there, and at that tribal council, when Michaela pulls out her cup and starts drinking it, and she knows she's not going home, she is trolling JT at that point. And she's doing that. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is Sandra, just younger, and it's Sandra trolling and negative, and people don't necessarily like you the whole time, but somehow you just keep finding a way and you find people who will side with you. And I love that alliance. I'm kind of sad they're getting broken up next week.
Yeah, that's good. We got a lot to talk about in that minimal preview that we had. But that Michaela sipping from that cup, that's going to be a gif. I'm surprised that hasn't been made yet. That was so funny. And I figured Michaela wasn't going home. When Sandra mentioned him, she said, I forget her direct quote, but Sandra said, we are something about keeping the strongest. It's him. It was so blatant. It was so obvious. I figured, JT is getting played like a fiddle. And he fell for it. And Aubrey fell for it too. Aubrey was at the end of that. She was like, man, you guys had me there.
Yeah, and it was so blatant. And I'm really shocked JT fell for this, just because at the beginning of the episode, they were so down on JT. And it was like, how could you do this to us? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, JT's never going to actually believe them if they ever get to that position. This was seriously like the Eric Reichenbach giving up his immunity necklace. That's what this felt like to me, because there's no reason JT should have gone home tonight. Should have played his idol. Should have seen it coming from 1.5 miles away. Somehow doesn't. And honestly, JT just got a lesson. He just got a lesson, and he got schooled by the queen, and the queen stays queen.
The queen stays queen. And he, in his exit, or in his final words, he looked so sad. He said something along the lines of, I'm always going to love the game, but I hate how I play it. And that broke my heart to hear. At that time, one of the better winners of Survivor to say that. It was so, that was really heartbreaking. But he got played. He got played by all of them.
He did, except for Aubrey, who got played by all of them, like you said. And what's crazy about JT is, and the one thing in defense of JT plays the win or go home game. He plays the go big or go home. He is going for the win every time. He doesn't care if he gets second place. He wants to get first place or get him out of there. And I think that's why he didn't bring his idol tonight. Yeah, he was naive to believe Sandra, and he's definitely going to look like an idiot on this one. But I also think in his head, he's saying, I have to trust them here. If I can get through this vote with my idol, I'm going to win this game. And I think that's why JT had the big move in Heroes vs. Villains where he got played by Russell. He's always looking for, what is my biggest move? How am I going to win this game? Not how am I going to get one day further?
And that's what I think. He's one of those players who actually does fit the theme of the season. The theme of the season is game changers. And I know it's become just a joke to say, oh, that was a game-changing move. JT, he tries, and he makes those moves. They just don't go in his favor. And it's really unfortunate, because if they go the other way, he's looking like $1 million.
See, hey, that's what happened to him the first time, and that's why he, did look like $1 million. But I mean, there's so much more that happened this episode, and just break. I mean, one of the best moves I think is Sandra with the sugar, and just eating it right in front of them. Knows that Michaela and JT are the only ones who use it. Knows that JT is getting mad about it, and she says, "Screw it, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna cause a rift." And she did such a great job with that. Nobody suspected it was her, and then at the end when she revealed it, they were all just like, "That was you!" Like they were all shocked.
Even Michaela wasn't even mad at it. Michaela was like, "Good job." She thought it was funny. That's what's so crazy. Like, you're playing Michaela on that one. But Michaela has also, she's grown in the couple episodes that we've seen her. Remember when she was the decoy the first go around? She wasn't too pumped about that. Look at how she's playing it now. She's sipping tea. She's playing up to it. So Michaela's had such a growth already. Sandra eating the sugar. My thing is, how is Sandra not bouncing off the walls? There's absolutely nothing in her stomach except for a jar full of brown sugar. That was hilarious. And she played it perfectly. JT, like, hook, line, and sinker, fell for it. Just threw it on Michaela. It was incredible. It was amazing.
And that's exactly what needed to be done, was getting Michaela to feel comfortable enough that she made JT feel comfortable. Because that's what happened. Michaela did not play up at all that she was going home. She never felt in danger, or she played up the entire time like she was going home. She played up like she was in the most danger ever, and it was a done deal. As soon as he didn't play his idol, and Jeff said, "I'm going to read the votes," Michaela pulls out her thing and starts sipping from her water, from her teacup, because she knows she's not going home. She knows. But she waited until that moment to even give an inkling that she knew she wasn't going home.
And it makes me mad on JT's behalf that he didn't even bring his idol. I mean, no matter what, no matter how much people can't stand Michaela, you found this idol, I mean, I guess to him 2 days ago. For us, 45 minutes ago. He finds it in 10 seconds, which we'll talk about how I feel about that in a minute. But he finds his idol. He knows he's down 4-1, and he doesn't even bring it. That was so bad.
I think that's just how good Sandra is. She completely played them, completely made him feel like, oh my God, so comfortable. How you don't bring it every time just because you never know the chaos that's going to happen, I will never know. I've never played the game, so I don't understand it. But I just don't get how JT doesn't even bring it. I mean, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. And also in the Sandra sugar moment, we had one absolute eye contact with the camera, which doesn't happen often, but when it's played well, it was perfect. That was like right out of a sitcom. That was like right out of Parks and Rec or something. It was so well done. So we had that, and then I think we had Brad look at the camera for a second, but this one was far more pronounced. Yeah, this one, she looked up, and when they were talking about, I know who ate it, she just looked right up at the camera and smiles. And that's just Sandra, though. She is so in your face with everything, and she's in your face with the viewers. She knows what she's doing. And it's crazy. She's made it through. How many tribal councils has Sandra gone to? All of them but one?
She's been to, 4 tribal councils, and she has 0 votes.
0 votes. 0 votes.
She's incredible.
She convinced JT to make Michaela her the primary target instead of Sandra. So if he did have an idol, Michaela goes home instead of her. Brilliant.
And if they go to tribal council again, I don't know if Sandra goes home. I don't think she does. Well,
that's why I don't think she does either. But we have the twist, and exactly. Aubrey would have been the one, I think, who goes home. And now we have a twist coming up, or not a twist, but a swap coming up. And it looks like this SAS alliance is going to be broken up. Aubrey's going to get a second chance in the game. And it seems like Aubrey's starting to come around a little bit. She came around a little bit tonight in terms of edit. She got a little bit more. She got played, but, Aubrey, she wasn't the target. So it doesn't matter if you're on the wrong side of the vote. Just don't be the target. Hang on another day and keep going.
And I think what makes Aubrey very enjoyable, it's very enjoyable to watch Aubrey as a viewer because she really loves the game. She could have been so pissed off after they played her, but she was like, man, that was good. Like, she was loving it. And also I had seen this in the preview, but her reaction to Jeff revealing the peanut butter and the cookies and the milk, I think she actively screams. That was so funny.
Her facial expressions this season have been killer. They've been amazing. She's had so many.
Yeah, her bored / confused face is my favorite. It is just absolutely dead.
It's great. It's great. So that's that whole tribe coming into terms. Let's go back because I know we're gonna have to talk blow-ups, but let's go back to the beginning of this episode. First of all, we come back the night after the Malcolm boot. JT knows that he messed up. I don't think his lie was very good, which even confused me more as to why he thought like that they would be on his side, because his lie was pretty bad where he's like, I told him that he was safe. And it's like, why would you tell him that he was safe? Like, then they know we're coming after Sierra.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a catch-22 because when you're on a tribe with Sandra, if he's going to be completely honest, he's screwed. If he does this bad half lie, they still don't like him, and it makes him look kind of dumb. So there's really no winning there. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing it. You know, we're seeing it after the fact, but that was not a good lie. I don't think they even bought it. And I think Sandra said at the beginning of the episode, he's getting out of here, and what she says goes.
Exactly. You beat me to it. I mean, it's proven to be true here so far. So that was really weird to me. He definitely didn't want Malcolm to go, which was the only thing he was really being sincere about. But everything else was just bad, I think, on his part. And then we go to a little reward challenge that involves a few balance beams, balancing a few things. And I'm not sure what happened here. I think the editors played tricks on us. They must have played tricks on us. Because from what I saw, Haley finished, had a little bit of a lead over which tribe was it? She had a lead over one of the tribes. And then Debbie went. And Debbie says she made it across in 30 seconds. I still don't think Debbie actually got across the beam. I still think she'd be out there right now.
She's still currently there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I don't think the editors played a trick on us. I think Debbie doesn't know what she's talking about. I think the editors gave us exactly what happened in that challenge. Haley,
and in one of the most rare, in probably one of the only times this has ever happened, they showed a flashback. I don't think they've ever really done this where they show a flashback to something that happened at the beginning of the challenge. And it's to Brad and Debbie's interaction that they've already shown. And then Debbie has her whole fit, and then they go back and show it again. And I hope this doesn't become a theme, but in this situation, it was perfect.
Oh, it was absolutely perfect in this situation. And they were just really piling it on Debbie. When you said things they've never done before, I thought you were going to say they had a couple seconds of them strategizing for the challenge. I think they've done it before.
They've done that a lot.
Yeah, they've done it before. And I was curious why they did it. They did it to show this Debbie thing. But so in these conversations, Michaela says she can dig. Confirmed she was great at it. She was an animal. Zeke said he can do the puzzle. He pulls it out. Debbie said she can balance. So that was it. We had two okay, this Michaela's great. Zeke is great. Oh my God, Debbie cannot walk across this balance beam while holding the ball.
And all Brad said was, okay, then you can do the balance part. Okay, that's cool. And you're watching this happen, and I do want to talk about it. I don't understand why Michaela was she seemed mad, which really confused me. But anyway, but this Debbie thing just blew my mind because she's sitting there after the challenge saying that she made it across so quickly. And I'm just like, where are you getting that from when you clearly never got across the beam? It just never happened. And she's blaming it on Haley, and Haley didn't do anything wrong.
No, I mean, I think it's coming out of Debbie's own head, honestly. I don't know how much. I mean, yeah, the editors are probably having a good bit of fun with us, but I think that came right out of whatever world Debbie was in for this entire episode, and also probably her life.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those. I loved the blow up at the beach. The next challenge, she annoyed the hell out of me. The next challenge, I was like, Debbie, we get it. We get it, Debbie. And you're going to watch this back and you're going to be like, what was I thinking? And I do believe, as crazy as Debbie was tonight, she watched that and she said she might not have even watched that. That had to have been hard for her to watch because she is an intelligent woman. And I think that this just in the heat of the moment, she lost her mind. And at that second challenge, she was obnoxious.
And there are so many different angles we can talk about here. The beach was incredible. She's doing push-ups to get rid of her anger. They're all sitting there just watching her do push-ups. It was hilarious. The lifting up her shirt, I got an 8-pack, was hilarious. The I never scream, cuts to screaming, hilarious. All of that was just the quintessential Debbie that I love. And the way she acted in the challenge was just embarrassing. It was so frustrating. It says so much about her tribe that at least nothing that we saw, they were like, right, yes, Debbie, yes. They let her have it. No one fought her. And this says a lot about Brad. It says a lot about Sierra. It says a lot about all of them. It was it was absolutely insane that they were holding together, because one of Michaela's on that tribe, the island explodes. I wouldn't be able to hold it in. I wanted to like grab her and shake her through the TV.
But not for nothing. And you say Michaela might have exploded. Michaela did pretty well when JT was yelling at her the whole time. She actually did pretty well. And I don't know if they cut some of that, but she was actually like laying there, and he's like, I know who did this. I know who did that. And she heard some of it, and she actually wasn't that vocal about it. But I do get what you're saying. If somebody starts yelling at Michaela, like JT was more of like egging her on, kind of trying to push buttons. Somebody starts yelling at Michaela. Imagine if Debbie started doing that to Sandra. Debbie be drowning. Debbie be underwater. I mean,
Sandra would have already killed her.
Yeah. And my favorite part of this whole sequence, of this whole blow up, was Debbie screaming about Princess Haley, Princess Haley, Princess Haley. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then when they're all in that like little cave area, Haley's like on top of the rock, kind of like laying out, looking like a princess. And I was like, Haley is the princess. That's like, there you go.
That was kind of like, I think it was in Cara Moment. There was a period of time where whenever Cochran had a confessional, he was sitting like on this throne thing in the water. And I was like, man, editors, again, just crushing it on Survivor. It was, that was pretty funny, the Princess Haley. I mean, again, I think this does a lot for the positive Brad edit that we're getting, because she is flipping out on him, and he's just like, yes, Debbie, you're right. I shouldn't have bothered you. It's incredible. And the fact that they still won the challenge. They got first place in that challenge.
No, they got second.
No.
Oh no, you're right.
They got second in the reward challenge. They won that.
Yeah, they won the immunity. Yeah. No, it's crazy. And honestly, I'm sitting there watching this immunity challenge going, they should just throw this and get her out of here, because if they do a swap, which is coming, my God, she's never going to work with them. And now she's just irritating, and she's going to try to blow up your game. Granted, I don't think they wanted to lose this one, because I think they thought another one was coming. So rather than vote out 2 members of your tribe, only vote out 1. I don't think they thought the swap was coming next. So of course they're going to try to win this one. But honestly, this might have been a situation where you throw a challenge because Debbie is just losing it too much, never going to work with you, flipping out, screaming at you in the middle of the challenge. It's just never going to be a good thing.
And it's not good if, we'll talk about what's going to come with this swap. If she ends up on a tribe with Brad, that's not good for him. Because, it's her word versus his word, which is another conversation. But you don't, if you're Brad or if you're Haley, you do not want her on your new tribe without any backup.
And it blows my mind that Haley's the one who's going to get booted if this tribe goes to tribal again, and Debbie's calling her the princess, saying she gets whatever she wants. Haley's screwed.
See, what I was going to say is if they went to tribal council, I'm feeling good about Haley. I was going to say after this, Haley's in a better spot. I think this is a breaking point. This is I don't need, my alliance can wait. She's got to freaking go. And Debbie said to Ty in her many moments of insanity, she said, I'm at the bottom of this totem pole. She knows.
Well, and what I'm saying is, though, before this blow up, I still think Haley was at the bottom. That's why I'm confused as to why Debbie thought she was on the bottom and Haley was some princess, when Haley was the one who they were trying to boot had they not had that crazy tribal council last week. Haley's the one who got up and talked to everybody. Haley's the one who felt like she was ostracized. Why is Debbie all of a sudden out of nowhere?
See, I interpreted Debbie's I'm at the bottom of the totem pole as in Haley doesn't even count. Like, Haley's not even in our alliance. That's how I interpreted it. But yeah, you could be right. I mean, either way, she's number 4, number 5.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This is one of the weirdest blow-ups we've ever had, because even like Survivor going back, the editors going back and showing that flashback, they're pretty much telling you there's one side to this story. You know what I mean? Like, they really did play this up like this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was you watched Debbie lose. Debbie said she was the best part, was really good at balancing. And now she's making up some story about how she got across really quick and they put her in that position and all of this. And then she's still complaining at the immunity challenge that they're not letting her decide. They're trying to let her decide. She's at a point where there's just no reason to have her on your tribe or on the island. And
if it were a two-way street, we wouldn't be getting such an obvious edit. We would be getting, it's kind of like when Debbie and Haley were talking in the previous episode, and Haley was like, I'm down to work with Debbie, and it cuts to Debbie saying, I'm not down to work with Haley. Mm-hmm. You usually get a funny edit like that, but we just get Debbie flipping out for 10 minutes. And you just reminded me, this happened at the reward challenge, that this all went down. and she's still freaking out about it at the immunity challenge. That means this blow up wasn't just 10-minute clips that this happened for like a day. I would have gone absolutely insane. I would have climbed to the top of that rock higher than Haley and just hit up there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this has to get intolerable. And I do want to say one thing. I think that everybody handled this really well. I'm also incredibly impressed with how Ty handled it. Because Ty even said, like, Debbie's got to go. But when he's talking to her, he's making her feel really comfortable. And, like, we're seeing a different game from Ty this time. Yeah, it might follow along the similar lines where it's find idols and do this and do that. But, like, find idols, latch on to people. He still might get pushed around a little bit, but we're seeing a much different side of Ty this time, where he wants to play, like he said, with his mind instead of his heart. And yeah, he's telling Debbie one thing and then he's telling the camera something else. We didn't see all that much of that in Ko Wrong, and a lot of times when we did it was scatterbrained. This made a lot of sense.
And it helps that Ty, I guess, hate to bring up Malcolm again. Like, Malcolm is a very calming force. He's very likable because he's so unique. Everyone likes Ty. I don't know if there's anyone who dislikes Ty, either as a player or as a viewer. People could talk about his gameplay, but just as a human being, he's a good person. So for him to be able to absorb that so well and also give it back to her in a nice way instead of haphazardly saying, no, Debbie, you're so right. Brad is a dictator. He genuinely acted like he cared about her. And maybe he did. Someone said Debbie's a nice lady. I'm blanking on who it was. Brad said, I love you. Debbie's like chirping in his ear, and he's like, Debbie, I love you. What's the deal here?
Yeah, he was like, why are you getting mad at me? Like, he just didn't get it. And honestly, I don't get it. And I don't think anybody did get it. And I think this was just pure frustration on Debbie's part. I think this was her, for the first time really in Survivor, Debbie messed up. And I think a lot of insecurity came out of Debbie tonight. And her insecurity came out in a very angry way because she had nobody to go to. And instead, she just blew up on somebody that she thought would be easy to blow up on. Because why, Alexa? Why is Brad easy to blow up on?
I don't think I'm allowed to say that on our podcast.
Well, you can bleep it out. You can bleep it out. But that's the reason. I mean, that's the reason. Because I think Debbie knows Brad's got a little bit of a history. She feels like he's the one who's in power on this tribe. And I thought it was funny how she changed sides from, Brad is the one who's in control. It's all Brad. And all of a sudden she's like, the four of you make all the decisions. And I'm like, wait a second. You just went from it was all Brad's fault to now all of them are making decisions together. This says something about you now. This isn't about Brad. This is about you. Oh,
absolutely. And I think Brad was talking to Sierra right when it first started, and he looks at her and he's like, is she acting? Like, they're all just like, what? Like, no one has any idea where it came from. It was pretty darn bizarre.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ty idol hunting real quick. So he found the clue in a short period of time, just like JT found his idol, which I think I've made pretty clear that I don't love. But what I liked about this clue is it didn't say draw an X at this exact coordinate and dig here. It mentioned something about a paddle or like a piece of wood, and you look for your tribe name on it.
And when it gets wet, it tells you where to dig or something like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Though actually, we'll have to see what happens because Ty might end up on a new beach. That is a pretty cool idol clue, and I got to rewatch it to hear the clue again. But I'm kind of looking forward to what happens there.
Well, with Ty going to a new beach, I'm pretty sure all they're going to do is they're going to take that clue that he found and they're going to make it associated to that beach. When they're at the reward, somebody's burying that exactly where it would have been buried on the other tribe. But this is what I want, and I completely 100% agree with you on this. Why is JT getting the dig here? And it's so dumb. It's just too easy. I'm okay with it at challenges telling them exactly where it is. But when it's at camp, make them find it. Make them hunt for it. And I think what they did this time is the first one on each camp or on each beach was very easy to find. The second one is tougher. And I think that's just really all it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm still waiting on this tribal council idol because I was wrong. I remember I said there's going to be a challenge idol, an at camp idol, a tribal idol. But JT's from the little clip that I got of his clue, it was kind of the exact same thing as Ty's first idol. It had the cross, had the dig here. Though it looked like it was kind of in their camp.
And this also looked like it was a lot easier to dig up. It looked like it was a lot shallower than Ty's.
Yeah, they were JT. I think JT even said like, "Oh, I'm gonna dig a couple times and it'll be there." So
he scraped the top layer.
Yeah, I really, really, really do not like how easy it is to find idols. Finding an idol without a clue is impressive, but like, I want to watch it. The first 3 minutes of this episode, JT finds an idol. It's just not as fun as a viewer.
No, it's not. And I think this Ty one, I actually got a little excited when that happened because I was like, okay, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. This is what I want to see. I'm even fine with the Troyzan one. Tell them exactly where it is at the challenge. It's hard enough to get away from your team at a challenge. Everyone is there. So I'm okay with either of them. But I don't like the, you found the clue. Now dig here. It's like, why not just give them the idol then? Like, I mean, none of them have had any difficulty.
Or if you're going to make it a very obvious idol clue, you should make the idol kind of like the idols in China, where it's part of your shelter. So you automatically have the difficulty of like pulling something from your shelter or from whatever that thing was in China. Just like give us a little bit more.
No, I totally agree. I think that's very, very important for this show moving forward is to do that.
Right.
Now let's talk to Vua for a little bit because we haven't talked to Vua, and tonight Sarah's coming out party a little bit. Troyzan and Sarah looks like they're going to be the ones who make like a little bit of a move, and it looks like they are probably going to end up on the same tribe next week, and that's why we didn't see it till now, being that tribe never went to tribal council.
I think Troyzan's in a really good position. I mean, she came to him. He didn't even have to come to her. They also, before this, they're cutting to the Tavua camp, and it is like the happiest music. Everything is going so great. Like they're playing like a whole different game than these other two tribes. It's pretty insane.
Well, it's funny. Like I said in the early podcast, like this, they're like happier now than they've been on other seasons, and all of a sudden, like this episode was a very dark episode. If you think about it, with Debbie and with the Nuku Beach, and then you have over at Tavua, nothing's going wrong, and Sarah's trying to make it a little bit darker. It seems like.
I know, and I am never a fan of let's shake things up just for the sake of shaking things up. Like I think she said something along the lines of, 4-1, it's boring, or what was it, 5-1 is boring. I don't like that. I don't love that, but it's putting Troyzan in a good position. It's creating a little drama in their camp. I know that won't really matter because they're going to be integrated with everyone else and all of their fiascos come next week. But I don't know. I think he's in a great position because he also didn't tell her about his idol, and that was very smart of him. I thought he was going to tell her because I think she mentioned looking for one, and he kept his mouth shut. That was very, very smart of him.
Yeah, and he even said like he has the idol, and he doesn't want to ever have to play it and all that. And it's like I was like, oh God, he's going to tell Sarah. He's going to tell Sarah, and then he didn't, and I was really happy with that. I'm like, good job, Troy. Don't tell anybody. Keep it to yourself until you absolutely have to. I love it.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge for him. But I mean, other than that scene, that's kind of all we got. They're great in challenges. Like Ozzy, I think he was for the immunity in the immunity challenge. He was pulling those, like pulling the slingshots.
He almost blew that though.
Yeah, he didn't do great, and he got up and like let someone else try. And I feel like that's something that earlier season Ozzy might not have done. Andrea is great in challenges. I have since learned she's, she did great on that balancing beam the first go around. They're in a good spot. It's as funny as it has been to watch two tribes kind of go down in flames and to watch them just live happily ever after. It'll be interesting to see a little more strategy out of them when they do, combine in whatever way they do with these other two tribes. Yeah,
which is definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun predictions podcast. I know a lot of the comments that we have so far are about like, what do you think is going to happen with this? Who's this player that's coming back? We're going to talk about that. It's going to be fun, but
we have a lot to talk about in that little clip. We got quite a bit of information.
We did. And we'll definitely talk about that. Like I said, most of the comments are about that. So I think when we go over to comments, we should start going there. But with this episode, how it went down and how much blew up, I wanted to give, we had to give everything its fair share. And coming out of tonight and now knowing that there's going to be a swap, Haley's golden. I really do think Haley's golden. I don't think it matters what tribe she goes to. She'll just she'll just go and be with the other side. I think she's golden. I think Brad's in a little bit of trouble. I think Sierra's in a little bit of trouble. I think Debbie's doomed. Even though she could still survive it, I do think Debbie's game is just about over now. If anything, she's just going to be a goat and go all the way to the end. But this Tavua tribe is the one I'm really the most confused on because I really don't know. Yeah, this helps Troyzan a lot, but who else does it help and who does it hurt? Because all of them just seemed like they were hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the breakout. If we go back to original Nuku and original Mana, original Nuku still has the numbers, I think, by one or two players. So if they go back that far, then everyone on Tavua is in a pretty safe spot. But I'm excited to watch Cirie, Andrea, Zeke, Ozzy play the game a little bit. I'm excited to watch them play these strategic games because we were so unsure of what's going on with the Cirie and Ozzy thing. We didn't hear anything about Zeke going into the season. Like, I'm ready for him. I've warmed up to Zeke. Like, I'm ready for this to happen.
Yeah, and it's funny, we kept saying, at least I did, I think you did as well, but we were saying Michaela has a better chance to win because of the Russell factor. It seems like Zeke has fit right in with whoever he's put up against, and Michaela is the one who's having a little bit of a tough time just because of how short she is with people. And tonight at the reward challenge, I thought it was a really good example of, like, she seemed like she wanted to dig. She killed it. She came running back, and instead of just like throwing it down, she like slammed down her bag, and it was in an aggressive, like, I'm angry way, which really confused me because I just didn't get it. And I think that there's been more moments of that we haven't seen. I misspoke a lot in the last podcast where I said that Malcolm said Sandra and Michaela weren't getting along. It was Sandra and Aubrey who weren't getting along. Malcolm was the one who didn't like Michaela. And I kind of see why. And she just seemed like she hated JT just as much as she probably disliked Malcolm.
Yeah, that bag throwdown was weird. And I think at the time I thought she was being funny. It reminded me a lot of Lady Gaga's Super Bowl halftime show. She like chucks her mic at the end of it. That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then I was like, oh, wait, she just wasted a second because the person she was supposed to give her bag to just had to go down and pick it up because she's so in the zone. That was not great teamwork there on her end.
Yeah, no, and on top of that, then you look at her face while she's standing there and she looks furious. And like, Debbie's, I really didn't understand. Michaela's, I feel like there's a lot of pent-up anger on that Nuku tribe that we're not seeing because it has been the Sandra show. And now with JT gone, I feel like we're going to start to see some storylines from Aubrey and a little bit more from Michaela than just tired of her. I think Michaela is going to be a lot of fun moving forward here. So I'm excited to see where she goes. I'm just very surprised with how aggressive she's been.
And I think it is good for the current Mana tribe because although they're breaking up, although that may be bad for numbers, I think they need to reset. I think Michaela just really needs to reset. Might not be great for Sandra. I think it's going to be really good for Aubrey. I think it's going to be really good for Michaela. I think it'll be good for Varner, too, because he can adapt so well.
Yeah, exactly. Varner, I hope, doesn't get screwed by this swap here because Varner is playing a great game. And it's been very subtle, but he is using Sandra, and it is working perfectly. Tonight, he put himself in the swing position. Michaela was the boot target. JT was a boot target, and Sandra had the potential at the beginning of the episode to be a boot target. Jeff Varner's name did not come up. On a small tribe where he is incredibly weak, his name did not come up. That is impressive.
And he said, I think it was right before going to tribal, he was like, I could either vote for JT, I could vote for Michaela. And he was like a kid on Christmas. So many people hate being in the flip position. He was like, this is amazing. He loved it. I think he'll be okay. I think the swap will screw Sandra before it'll screw Varner.
For sure. I completely agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, though. And Varner, for somebody who's only made the merge once and never made the jury, he plays a really good individual game. Like, he does. It's just he's always on a tribe that loses. And that's why eventually his time just runs out. But, we'll see what ends up going on for the rest of this. We can jump over to comments. I know in terms of tonight with the prop bet game, JT found an idol. Troy Zan's at 2 sit-outs now. Cirie did sit out for the 3rd time, so we get that one. What else? JT got the hashtag blindside. The last vote read was Varner. Did anyone say dirty deed? And if anybody knows who said that, was the name of the episode. And I'm not sure if anybody said it.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. That was a little funky. JT also confessional in every epispretty he's in, possibly?
Yeah, because anybody who's confused on that, we counted the first. Even though this says it's episode 5, it's week 4, and we're pretty much the way we're doing it is week 1 is 1 episode. Week 2 is episode 2. Week 3 is episode. Even if there's a 2-hour episode, we're just counting it as 1. So JT, even though he didn't have a confessional in the first hour of week 1, he had a confessional that night. So right now he had a confessional in every episode he was in.
Yeah. So we hit a lot on this episode, except for the episode title. Someone tell us who did it.
Yeah, see if anybody did, and let's see here. Okay, so let's jump over to comments. Sandra said dirty deed. It was Sandra. Okay, I completely missed it.
I wonder what the context was. Man, were we
Probably
just like
about
not
the
watching this episode?
Had to have been about the sugar.
Love the sugar.
It had to have been. Okay, let's jump over to comments, and we're going to talk about this preview and our theories here. But okay, Twitter. Dylan Rendazzo. My grandma just compared Debbie's fit to the Wicked Witch to the West. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little Monica too.
Yeah, she said like he controls X, he controls Y, and he controls his family. Does he control Monica? Am I missing something? Because the last time I watched, Monica made it to the final tribal council without him.
Mm-hmm. and there's my McDonald's plug. But yeah, I mean, she made it all the way there without him, and really all he did was hurt her game, if anything. So
yeah, I don't know what I'm missing there, but I'm not on the show.
Yeah. We have Sarah. If JT and Ty found idols in the same spot, do you think there is one in the same spot on the third beach? I do. And I honestly think that if Troyzan had found it after an immunity challenge, it probably would have been that exact same clue.
Yeah, I think so. There's going to be idols galore this season. They're going to be coming at you left and right. So I wouldn't be too surprised. I'm curious is there an idol on the Tavua beach similar to Ty and JT's idols? And is there a paddle idol that we still haven't found on all three beaches? Then how many idols do you even play? Like,
and that's the thing. Are there like 3 clues out there? Or maybe like, are there 3 clues out there? And if somebody finds one, they remove the other 2? Or are they going in some sort of order? Like, I don't really understand. And I would love to know the behind the scenes of that.
Yeah, I've always been curious about how they plant idols. Because I remember it was when Troyzan found his. I was like, what if he just walked by that bottle? What if he didn't even find the clue for the challenge idol? Do they plant a clue for something else? I always wondered about that.
Yeah, I don't know. And hopefully we get an answer to that at some point. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, vote for MVP and LVP. I think MVP is blatantly Sandra. I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody else. I think we're just going to give it to her no matter what at this point.
Yeah, we've got it's a pretty clear Sandra MVP, and Debbie's got a flaming LVP.
Yeah, I agree because JT can't be LVP because he got voted out. So LVP's got to be Debbie, MVP's got to be Sandra, and Alexa lost her first pick. So good first overall pick there, Alexa. Well done.
Yeah, I never thought that Zeke and Sari would be carrying my fantasy team, but here we are. To everyone who said Sari was a terrible fantasy pick.
Yeah, she's still hanging in there, and she might still not go to a tribal council. Let's see here. We have Steel Punch. JT just got played by Sandra. That was one of the funniest tribal councils of all time. Have we ever seen one player get screwed by another like that? I guess by what PG and Jamie did. He's saying Aaron, like by what PG and Jamie did. I mean, this wasn't, but that was like a strategic move that he didn't have a response for. JT had a clear response to this one, and she pulled the wool over his eyes. She was unbelievable tonight. I
don't know if screwed would be the word. I think my phrase is played like a fiddle. He fell right into her trap.
That's it.
And she has taken out 2 winners who have gone for her. 2 winners.
Yeah.
And
2.
Man, they should have worked with her.
And she didn't get the votes during it.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Insane. So we have Sarah again. Who do you think the returning player is? Okay. So let's talk about this. We saw this preview. We saw that they're going to do a swap. We saw Exile Islands coming back, which I'm super pumped about. I'm sure you are as well, right?
One of my favorite seasons is the original Exile Island. I love Exile Island. And I like that they're introducing it a little bit late, too. Though that, if we're going to talk about people getting screwed, if we split up tribes and then immediately send someone to exile, that's not great for them. But then maybe there's then we have, like 8 different idol options?
Yeah, but then it's okay because if you look at what happened with Julia Sokolowski, it actually kind of worked in her favor because Anna goes home instead of Julia. She comes back, and yes, she was the target, but she showed how good she was at playing the game and was able to get rid of Peter instead of going home. So I actually think that whoever goes to exile, if you get to survive 1 tribal council, in reality, you only have to survive 1 more before you go and merge because they're definitely going to merge at 13 this year. So really, you only have to survive 1 more before it's the individual portion of the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. But yeah, I'm pumped about Exile. And we cut to Aussie for a second. I think they were implying an Aussie Exile, but they might have just been playing a little camera trick.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I was somebody had posted like all of like the season intros, like during the reunions, like everybody does like the like they do the next time on Survivor, like the season.
Yeah.
And I was watching those, and yeah, I watched that like whole YouTube clip. And when they got to the Exile Island portion where they're doing Panama, Cook Islands, Fiji, it was so cool, like how much they played up Exile Island, and like around. I guess it was really just around like Tocantins. They kind of had like good ideas with it, and they kind of just like stopped doing it. And I'm really excited for it to come back and to see what they have in store for it this time.
Yeah, I'm pumped for Exile Island. And if they're, I think they're going to do something different than just planning an idol there. Because if they're throwing out all these twists at us, I don't think they'll bring back a conventional Exile Island. I think they'll do something else. That being said, conventional twist. I don't know what's going on with this returning player, but at first glance, I'm not happy.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's somebody that's actually on this season. I think it's going to be a Survivor player coming back that maybe was like a game changer, but didn't actually play on this, isn't actually playing on this season. And they might almost be like stunt casting, where like maybe they're like a reward or something. I just feel like to bring back one of the players who's been voted out, I don't like it. So I just don't think they'd go that route.
I just don't know what situation I would be happy at. Winning a like Rupert as a reward or something would be kind of funny. And yeah. Jeff loves Rupert, like whatever, bring him back for a 5th time.
That would be 5th.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be Rupert's 5th time on an island with Jeff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'd bring anyone from this season back. And I don't think they would just introduce someone and be like, okay, you're on a tribe now. So I feel like I'm about to make this comparison and I'm going to get crucified for it. I feel like it's kind of like a red herring because in the show The Bachelor, they'll bring in like, oh, look at this ex-girlfriend, look what's coming. And then like they have a 30-second talk and then she leaves. So maybe they'll bring someone in as a reward, but any other option, I'm really not happy with it. If they introduce anyone back into a game, whether it be a player from a previous season or a player from this season, I will be really upset. I really would not like that twist, no matter who it is.
What if it's Michelle Fitzgerald?
I think you can answer that question.
Exactly. I just wanted to see where you stood. That's my goal here, is that Michelle's coming back onto our screens. I can't think of anybody else that I'd rather have. But if it's not Michelle,
I can't think of anyone else. I'm a big Michelle fan, but I don't think Jeff would do that because we all know how Jeff feels about her.
Oh, you're never going to be as big of a fan of Michelle as me. You can say
no, I never will.
I
would please. No. I would not even try to do that.
Anyway, moving on. But my thing is, who's on this season that played on Blood versus Water? Brad Culpepper. Is there any chance that this is like some sort of family thing, something like that? I think it's too early, but could it just be
Monica do?
Could it simply be Monica?
What does she do? Talk to him?
I don't know. Maybe she comes in. Maybe he forgot like his shoes or didn't do his laundry or something. So she's like, Brad, I'm not doing this.
She runs this family.
Yeah, exactly. She wears the pants in that damn family.
Yeah, and Monica's going to come in. Monica's going to come in, vote Debbie out, and then leave.
Yeah, exactly. But it could easily be something like that, and they're just playing it up like one survivor comes back, and it could just be something as simple as like Monica or something like that.
Yeah, but why?
I have no idea.
For the sake of a twist, I don't know. I don't like it. It's leaving a bad taste in my mouth right now. Well, talk to me in a week. We'll see how I feel. I don't know. Maybe
Caleb forgot something. Maybe he forgot his belt buckle. Maybe that's
his beast mode cowboy belt buckle.
Maybe that's all it is. All right, let's see here. We have Jar Jar Minks. So if JT really left his idol at camp, if someone finds it, can they use it? Is that allowed?
I bet production takes it while they're at Tribal Council.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he like buried it somewhere, I'm sure somebody could go find it somewhere, and it would just be like kind of accidental. But like, it's not in his belongings. So like, I bet you it's just wherever. I don't really know. I don't know. I can't even.
I imagine that even when they're hiding an idol, even if someone's hiding an idol that they already found, there's some camera on them just to make sure, like, oh crap, what if we lose this idol? Like, let's keep an eye on it. So I envision like he gets voted out, someone radios to someone back at camp, and they're like, hey, dig it out and throw it out. I'm guessing they replant it. I bet they replant it.
Yeah, they probably put it back somewhere. I mean, because the thing is, it's not even like anybody knew JT had an idol.
Yeah, that's also a good point. But it's kind of like if you find an idol in someone's bag, you can't do anything with it. You're not allowed to take it.
Yeah, no, very true. Very true. We have Ginger Artist. My bootless is cursed. My bootless is cursed. Ozzy and Sandra are next, aren't they? What have I done? Ginger Artist is still perfect here. Still perfect. So we
make Ozzy and Sandra next. No.
I know, right? Like, God. We hope you're wrong. Gamer Girl. Is this the first time somebody brought a mug to tribal council and drank from it? I love Survivor First.
That's got it. That is a game-changing move.
It is. That's the new Kermit the Frog meme, where it's like that's none of my business as I like sip the tea. Now it's going to be Michaela in the Survivor community because that was just gold.
Oh yeah, Michaela has been. I sent you this GIF earlier, but if anyone's on Reddit, our NFL made a hilarious GIF of the Michaela vote out episode of Millennials versus Gen X, but it's in reference to football teams. It's super funny.
Yeah, I need to actually watch that with sound. I only saw it half.
Yeah, you kind of need sound. That's what makes Michaela's screams so funny.
Kind of ruin that. Carter Mortensen, why did JT not bring his idol? Well played, Sandra. Next Wednesday's my birthday, and I want Ty to find an idol. Debbie packed. Guess that. Oh, maybe get Debbie out. Okay,
that makes more sense. Because Sandra is one of the greatest players to ever be on her television screen. That's why he didn't bring it.
Yeah, right. It's amazing. I think JT, like I said, it's either he wins or he doesn't. He doesn't look at I want to get 14th. He's just like I want to win, and he was never going to use his idol this early in the game.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, he was confident. He went down swinging.
Yeah, well, Sandra used his ego against him. How many times have we seen her do that? Rupert, Fair play, Russell. She uses the ego against him because her ego's big, but she's good at controlling it. She knows she has an ego. These other people don't really realize it.
Yeah, for sure. I could talk about how great Sandra is all day.
I know, right? We could do like a 2-hour podcast just talking about how great she is. Let's see. We have Ginger Artist. Did not see that coming. Holy crap. JT now joins the greats who were voted out with an idol in the pocket. Why did JT try to get Michaela out when he had an idol and Sandra as a target in mind? Sugar is serious business, I guess. And this is another thing. JT started playing with his heart instead of his brain.
And I think, Michaela just got on his nerves so quickly. He was all in on getting rid of Sandra last week. And I think Michaela must have just really driven him up a wall.
Yeah.
I think he probably knew that gunning for Sandra, now that he has no one, he had no Malcolm, gunning for Sandra is a much more difficult feat than gunning for Michaela.
But at the same time, if you have an idol, just tell everybody, don't even make an effort and then just write down Sandra's name. Tell Aubrey that you want to vote out Sandra. I like that there's a laser tag game going on behind you.
No, it's an ambulance. I wish it was laser tag, McDonald's plug. Oh God, I lost my train of thought because of the ambulance. I think if JT, I think it helped that JT at least in the moment had a little backup on the anti-Michaela train. So if he's like, I'm going for Sandra, they're gonna think he has an idol. But if everyone's like, oh yeah, Michaela's pissing us off, it makes a little more sense for him.
Well, and he's also trying to get through this without using his idol. Once again, because he doesn't want to use it. So why, if he's thinking, great, we can get rid of somebody I don't really like who's not going to work with me, and I keep my idol, I can get rid of Sandra whenever I want.
Yeah, but that's bad logic because the day before he was digging for the idol because he was about to go home. So
yeah, well, he definitely got blinded.
All around JT is now gone.
The tiara blinded him. That's all it really is.
Yeah. Couldn't see from all the sparkles.
Yeah, Giovanni Oriana. Is it fair to say that since Malcolm and JT don't like her, Michaela's social game is bad? Is she a better character? Because I think most of Millennials versus Gen X liked Michaela.
I think the Millennials versus Gen X group is more conducive to her personality.
Well, and also going back to just straight egos, the egos on this season are a lot bigger than the egos were on Millennials versus Gen X. Just strictly because they played before, and now they're like JT. Not only did he get played by Sandra, he got played by a girl who played the season before. He's supposed to be this legend. He was on Heroes versus Villains. He won 7-0, and Michaela just played him.
Yeah, she played him. And when he was doing his voting confessional, I don't remember what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, "You got to grow up. You're playing with the big kids," and she beat him.
Yeah, exactly. And he was so arrogant at that tribal. Like I said, Malcolm hurt me a little bit just because of how he went out. JT, I was laughing. I was like, damn, dude. Like, man, you messed up. It was a bad season for JT.
Yeah, bad 2 seasons for JT.
Yeah. He's had a bad last 5 or 6 episodes. Aaron Weiner, good preview. I hope the returnee is Tony, although it won't. But I think the possible people are Boston Rob, Russell, or Parvati.
I'm down for Parvati.
I just don't understand what would like the point of
what
like
would they do?
Let's say it's a reward and it's like a returning player. Like you get them for like one challenge or something. What is Parvati gonna do? She won the game because
What's
she's
Russell
a
gonna do? He's gonna get you voted out.
Yeah, exactly. Like Russell, I guess, could like be good in a challenge, but like Parvati wasn't. She was good at like endurance challenges, but she's not good at like a tribe challenge necessarily. It's very weird.
Yeah, and then I mean Boston Rob in Heroes vs. Villains at the beginning, he was good for morale, help you with a puzzle. I don't. Yeah, just what is the game? I don't know.
I don't get it.
Of any of them. I like some of those 3 more than the others, but I none of them would particularly help that much. I don't know.
I don't get
Maybe
it.
Maybe hang out with someone on Exile Island. Maybe to keep them company.
Maybe it's Brandon Hance to like come and like take the craziness away from Debbie.
Yeah. What would be the most obscure? Who would be the most like obscure person to come back?
Sonia Christopher.
Wanda from Palau.
Yeah, one of those two. Maybe this is
if
Wanda
Sonia
and
came back,
Jonathan
I would be like,
now.
I would be super pumped if Sonia came back.
Could you imagine Wanda and Jonathan come back for this season?
Oh my!
They saved them for now.
Changing move.
That would be unbelievable. The only one, if they were going to bring somebody back from this season, the only one it would be Malcolm. But considering Malcolm did exit interviews and stuff, there's no way it's Malcolm. It's not somebody from this season.
I don't think it's Malcolm. I think he's still upset. Tony, yeah, Malcolm or Tony. Or they bring back Sierra and everyone's pissed.
Yeah, well, you would be pissed. I think you're the only one. Or one of the only ones.
I'm not the only one.
No, you're okay. Giovanni Oriana, Alexa, do you see the comparison of Debbie and Philip? I believe Philip said he had upper body strength, and they both get mad.
I think, Giovanni left a comment on the previous video kind of explaining why he can word my thoughts better than I can, why I like Debbie more. Because I think he used the words Debbie was a little more lighthearted. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not allowed to defend myself after tonight.
Yeah, this was absurd. Like I keep saying, small doses of Debbie. This was a big one. Riley Bursch, could we see another Brandon Hance-like situation with Debbie? Maybe this could be the controversy Varner alluded to.
I think the Brandon Hance thing, I know a lot of people are comparing it. I still think Debbie's is funny. Brandon Hance's made me legitimately upset. Like, it made me feel kind of sick. Because Brandon
Hance has kind of like exploited his clear mental health. And
he shouldn't have been on that season.
Yeah, Debbie, I think, like I said, I still think Debbie knows that she's doing it for the camera, but I also think Debbie was a little insecure tonight because this was the first time she really blew it.
Yeah, I think Debbie's was a bit of a perfect storm. Brandon Hance's was just upsetting to watch because I felt wrong for him.
Yeah. All right. Aaron Weiner has so many here, but I'm going to read 2 of them here. Number 1, when Debbie said Haley costed them the PB&J, like, come on, she is annoying. Loved it when Debbie said it was a dictatorship, and then it showed Debbie saying that she wanted to do balance, and Brad said, okay. So 2 good ones there. And then the question that has to be on everybody's mind, do you think Varner ate the peanut butter and jelly?
Oh.
Because he said he has not eaten peanut butter since he stepped down for it in Australia.
I bet. Ooh, I don't know. When did he say? That is a good.
That is 16 years of no peanut butter.
So that's a long time without peanut butter.
Exactly. Do you think he ate it tonight since it was the reward?
I don't. Someone's got to tweet at him. I'll tweet at him.
Yeah, somebody's got to find this out. We need to know, Varner. We need to know.
Yeah, this is pressing.
Exactly. We have Mel. This season is just crazy. We're already several weeks in, and Sandra's running things. How far now do you guys predict she'll go? Depends on this swap.
Oh, this tribe swap does not help. The second I finally feel confident about Sandra, there's a tribe swap, and now I have her low again.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. If this was her tribe next week, Aubrey's done.
Oh, yeah.
Or Michaela's done. because Varner's never voting for Sandra. So yeah, but the
I'm
swap
just. I mean,
hurts.
we say this every week, but any bit of Sandra that we get is just added value. I thought she was going to be gone as early as Tony was, so I'm just in it for the ride. Sandra's one of the greatest players who's ever played, and no one can deny that. After tonight, after last week, after the week before then, it's just so fun to watch, and I hope I can get as much of it as I can this season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just keep giving me moments like this. The last one, I don't need that. I don't need contrived stuff. Just give me these types of moments. People with idols getting voted out because they're just so blinded by themselves. Give me those moments. So we have Nunya. Who knew JT could outdo his epic blunder last week by going to tribal without his idol? Is he more mental than Debbie?
Maybe a more subdued mental.
He's definitely somebody who, like, no matter what, JT's just, this game has eaten him alive now. He wanted to outdo himself from Tocantins, and he's just never going to be able to.
I think you mentioned this, I mentioned this, I don't remember who it was, but he needs like a Steven and a Taj. I think this more proved how good of players, not how good of individual players Steven and Taj are, but the cohesive group that they were was so necessary to him winning.
Exactly. No, that's a very good point. And Fishbach needed JT. They needed each other, and that's why it was such a good.
Nothing without each other.
Yeah. All right. So we have Gamer Girl. Is this season like a reverse Millennials versus Gen X, where instead of all the girls going, all the guys are going? It seems like it.
Yeah, sure seems like it. How many girls have gone home? Sierra?
Only Sierra.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah. It's weird how, like, we go from one season where the girls just go one after the other, and now this season the guys have gone, what is that, 5 in a row?
Yeah, kind of nuts.
It's weird. Random Survivor facts. Giovanni Rihanna, what's more fair, the Outcasts during a pirate season or this random player coming back next episode?
It's probably a question better suited for next week's recap.
I'll say, going in blind right now, Outcast is fairer if they bring back a player who was already voted out from this season, because they should have learned their lesson by now. And this would be unfair because these are really good players that are just getting randomly thrown back in. There's no reason for it, and somehow they picked this player without telling us. So I would say Outcast.
You're bringing back one player versus Outcast you brought back 2.
And because the Outcasts they had to beat the other 2 tribes. Like, this just seems like somebody's coming in.
Yeah, it sounds like they're just shipping them in.
Unless it's the only way that it'd be somewhat decent is if it's Malcolm because of that tribal, but then they would just be like, why did you ever do that tribal in the first place? It's just a waste.
I think that would only make the tribal worse.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's a good point.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I want Malcolm in this game, but that would make the whole thing pointless.
Exactly. Caitlin, tell me I'm not the only one who was extremely confused when Jeff was saying Sierra and Sarah's names in the challenges.
Sierra, Sarah, Sari. It could still happen.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough going on there with the S words here. Riley Burge, how did Tavua sit Troyzan out of immunity challenge last week and reward this week? Isn't that 2 in a row? It's only 2 of the same in the same episode. You can't sit out 2 in the same episode. It refreshes.
And they sit out freaking Troyzan and they still win. They're incredible.
They dominate by sitting out Troyzan. Like, they dominated. Gamer Girl asks, is this one of the first times 2 idols were found in the same episode? And was Michaela's impression that JT did spot on?
We found an idol and a clue, right?
Yeah, we didn't find 2 idols, so that's...
Yeah, we found 1.5 idols.
The JT Michaela impression was pretty good.
Could have been better.
Yeah. I still think Michaela's Kermit the Frog impression there, sipping the tea. That's my favorite. I love it.
Michaela's got like a web series called Tea with Michaela B. She was foreshadowing the whole time.
She was. Oh my God.
Wow. She has been playing us.
She just blew my mind. She's playing layers of this game now. Wow. That's really good. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's really good.
She's running circles around us.
Yeah. Wow. Let's see. We have Nunya. Michaela hinted in her YouTube that Malcolm and probably JT are chauvinistic and don't respect strong women. Thoughts?
Chauvinistic's a tough.
It's a dirty word.
A loud word. I will say JT. It was one sentence. All he said was, "We need to be strong in challenges." probably not the best argument to make if you're trying to vote out Michaela.
Especially over Varner and Sandra. But I will say, chauvinistic's a dirty word. Yeah, they might be. I think honestly, they're more scared of stronger women. To be honest with you, I mean, Malcolm lost to Denise.
Chauvinistic is.
Malcolm lost to Denise, who's a pretty damn strong woman, and JT.
He respects her. He loves her game. He loves her.
Exactly. And JT, one of JT's closest allies was Taj, who he voted out of Final Four because he was scared she would beat him. So I don't think chauvinistic's the right word there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see here. We have Zach. Pretty sure Michaela sipping the water was the biggest game-changing moment this whole season. Everybody's loving that. Let's see. Henry Alford. My favorite little moment was when Debbie finally makes it down the beam and Haley sarcastically goes, "Yes, you made it."
I totally missed that.
She did. I just remembered that. I completely forgot. She finally gets across, and I think her actual line was, you finally made it, or at least you made it, or something like that, where it was like trying to be like a build you up, but Debbie was clearly already furious.
That is incredible. That went right over my head. Was that like subtitled? Like, did we get a subtitle on that? Or did she just say that? Man, I need to rewatch this episode.
You do. And the other thing I want to say is, every time Debbie in that immunity challenge is jumping down off stuff and like saying like one did it, like blah blah blah, like oh, first one down. It's like, okay, we get it. Like, chill, calm down.
Yeah, that's like how old are we?
Yeah, exactly. Mentally or physically. Okay, we have Clutch hat trick. How's Sandra's name not come up? She's literally telling people that she is playing them, and no one bats an eye. It's so true.
I have not a clue. I don't know. I think Sandra also, I think they also really like her, because if she was acting like this and they didn't like her, they would have voted her out. I think it also helps that they legitimately, truly like her.
Yeah. Which is weird. It's hard to believe how much they like her, because she is being pretty ruthless. I love it. So we have Henry Alford, Sandra, Michaela, Jeff, Sass are us. So there's your name for the alliance.
That's a Philip reference too with the RS.
Yeah. Adam Heinrichs, what's your opinion when Sandra revealed she ate the sugar after the vote? It's cocky. That's about all I have to say about that.
I mean, cocky is like the name of Sandra's game right now. I mean, she's playing. I mean, I think she thinks that. I mean, I was about to say, I think she thinks that she can't win, but I think she also thinks that she can. But I think she's playing in such a, you know what, I'm here for the third time. Let's just play it this way. And you know what? They laughed. They loved it. No one got mad at her.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
It's crazy that every time she's getting the vote off her back. Every single time.
Yeah.
Then we have Proud Nurse, who is the biggest Will fan of all time. That's a joke. She's probably so happy you're sitting there right now, Alexa, instead of Will. She even hashtagged disagreeing with Will. See, she misses disagreeing with Will. You need to become more like Will, Alexis, so that people just yell at you.
I don't know if I have it in me. I love disagreeing with you, but I don't know if I can scream you the way that Will used to.
Well, Proud Nurse and Will went back and forth, and I enjoyed reading the comments every time. But she says, do you think Sandra's cockiness will eventually bite her in the butt? And my response is, I don't see how it doesn't.
I think we are being set up for the biggest Sandra downfall.
It has to. I mean, seriously, if Sandra keeps surviving this, it's too impressive. Something has to go wrong for Sandra soon.
Something very bad needs to happen.
Hey, and if it doesn't, good for her. She's killing it. All right, I'm going to jump over to YouTube. AT. Do you think production pushed for the players to try and say things with game changers in it as often as possible?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, they always do. Anybody who plays up the theme is going to get more screen time. These are seasoned veterans.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. AT&T, I find it funny that in the reward challenge, Ozzy is balancing the ball, and it makes it seem like he overtook JT and Haley, yet in one shot, you can see JT in the background while Ozzy's balancing the ball.
Ooh, good camera.
Yeah. Although I do think Haley was in first, and then Haley ended up losing to Ozzy, but she definitely beat JT.
I mean, losing
JT
to Ozzy is like everyone loses to Ozzy, so I'm still impressed.
Debbie would not have.
Debbie would have already won the challenge by then and then gone home and made dinner for everyone.
Exactly. Dylan Dylan Rendazzo, did Sandra just dab at the end of the reward challenge when she solved that puzzle?
Oh my God. I need to rewatch this for so many reasons. Did she seriously dab?
I don't know. I missed that if she did.
And she has out Sandra herself. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a little rewatch on that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to see. Sorry. All right. We have. Where am I looking at here? Kevin Smith. I started laughing when JT didn't play his idol. I knew he was gone then. His poor performance recently. Does it make Fishbach one of the most underrated Survivor players of all time? Maybe best to never win. Also, what in the world is going to happen next week?
I think in terms of the Fishbach thing, I think they need each other.
Yeah, I kind of agree because if you look at Fishbach in Survivor Second Chance, how good did he really play?
He didn't play JT bad, but he didn't play winner good, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, JT definitely had the bigger fallout.
Yeah, and in terms of what's going on next week, I have no idea, and I'm kind of pumped because the only potential red herring is this returning we got to be getting an Exile Island, and we are getting a switch. Those two things are happening, so these are like real changes that are happening, and they're two changes that I love. So that I'm pretty pumped for next week. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do for my power rankings, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes, which of course will be happening on Sunday at some point. And
good plug.
We have just so everybody knows, we have about 10 more minutes of me reading comments because I actually have to run. I know I'm terrible for this, but it's something that's like work related, so I can't really help it. And we tried to get off to an earlier start tonight. It's still over an hour. We'll read the rest of the comments on the predictions episode. So I'm going to try to roll through some of these, but we have like 10 minutes. I'm
all sorry. These work-related situations going on. I don't like this.
It doesn't help when you watch the episode at work. So, all right, let's see here. So once Acosta has a lot to say here. If you've already touched on them, ignore them. Yeah, it's hard because it's hard to go through all of these. But yeah, talking about the flashback over Debbie's rant, and then Vanua, your favorite moment between Michaela's clapback, her literally sipping the tea, or tell Malcolm you sent him home. Because we didn't talk about that either. When she said, tell Malcolm you sent him home, and JT just goes, I will.
Oh, that was so sad. I felt so bad for him because he probably is going over. He was crying when Malcolm was going home. Mm-hmm. And when they cut to at the reward challenge, they're walking in and Debbie's like, we're all here. And no one from Mana's gone. And they cut to JT's face when you see Andrea and Sarah's reactions. And he is just like, he looks like he's died. He looked so crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that, Michaela, who he was so convinced is going home, is sipping tea as you're walking out. As the Survivor winner is walking out, how old is she, 23, 24, is sipping her tea and telling him to go apologize to Malcolm because he shouldn't be going home. It's just like a perfect storm.
It was great. It was absolutely great. Let's see. So we have, and then plus, remember, two things to end tonight on a good note. Sandra has yet to get a vote for her, and no matter how bad either internet gets, you aren't Fishbach mourning JT's elimination.
So I hate to jinx things, but we're an hour in, and I think the internet's doing pretty well. How are you thinking, Phil? There was
a little sketchy part in the middle. I didn't want to tell you because it wasn't bad enough. We could hear you, but there was a little something. It might have been mine for all I know.
There was a little sketchiness, and I didn't bring it up either because I didn't want to say anything. So
we don't know whose it was.
Really glad there's open communication going on here.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't tell anybody. All right, we have the real Negro. Sup, guys? I don't know if it's only me, but for these so-called all-stars, their strategy really sucks. Michaela cries about losing, but targets JT. Why not pull JT and Aubrey's side and say, let's vote off Sandra or Jeff? I think Survivor needs to look at these 3 tribe swaps for the future because it screwed 2 huge players, and they're already switching it again. I think they need to just do one swap. Finally, that Debbie thing, while it was kind of funny, it was also really disturbing to see. We rip on people like Brandon Hance, but I think this was worse because she believed everything she said happened when obviously it didn't.
Okay. I need to digest that all. So I don't know if the 3 tribes screwed Malcolm. That's not what screwed Malcolm. The twist screwed Malcolm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. I kind of like 3 tribes. Only if you do it for a short period of time.
I do also agree though that they do swap a little bit too much now. Like I'm okay with swapping a lot, but I don't want it to become the norm where you swap 2 or 3 times or 3 times every season. If you start with 3, maybe do 1 tribe swap. You don't need to do 2 or 3 every time.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I think so. But we're going 2-3-2 merge. And is that's what happened in Cambodia, right? Is that what we concluded?
Yeah, same thing. But at least this one they're going to do 2 for, it looks like 2 episodes.
Right, because if we're merging at 13.
Exactly. Dennis O'Connell, I think it's just too obvious who the former castaway is. It's Chet. He's coming back for one day so he can join the Alliance to vote Ozzy off and then quit that night. But my question for you guys is, do you believe Brad is going to be the Boston Rob of the season while Ciara is his Amber, and Ty and possibly Haley or Sarah and Troy will be his Tom, Jenna, and Rupert?
Oh, dear. I think
Love
Ciara's...
the Chet reference, first of all. Got to say
Yeah, but that was legitimately hilarious. A Ciara-Amber comparison is a little bit of a stretch for me.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, that Boston Rob
also,
wasn't...
Brad is married.
Yeah, I'm feeling like... I don't know. I just don't see that. Brad wasn't as bad. Boston Rob was like more of a villain. Like Brad and Boston Rob were both like equally villains, I guess, in their season. And neither of them really necessarily had to have been brought back for their next season. But like, you know what? I'm starting to understand it now. I just don't feel like they're going to play the same game. They are similar characters to the first time they played, but I don't think they're playing the same game.
Who are the other comparisons? Who is the big Tom and the Jenna and the...
Ty, Haley, and Troy. So Troy would be Rupert, Jenna would be Haley, and Tom would be Ty. See, I think
the Ty and Big Tom thing.
Troy is the hardest one because he wasn't as huge on his season as like a Rupert or a Big Tom even.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. I might have almost believed them there.
I liked that comparison. That was good.
That was good. As much as I don't think it's going to happen in the same way, that was a good comparison. Gamer Girl, Debbie's meltdown felt unnecessary to me. I knew the reward challenge was going to cause it as soon as she touched the balance beam. I'm now with Phil and can't stand her. Think her days are numbered. I've had meltdowns too, so I know what she's going through, but I never contradicted myself in the meltdowns.
I've had quite a few meltdowns, but yeah, I don't know. I would like to think I've never been that delusional, but...
I'm sure we've all had some sort of similar moment, but not to that extent, not on national TV.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth on the national TV thing.
Yeah. Giovanni Oriana, is this the most beautiful and exciting train wreck of Survivor season ever? We'll see how it keeps going, but it is definitely something right now. It is a train wreck. This was a really good episode, though.
I like this episode. As a Debbie Entertainment fan, I can at least get the entertainment value out of that. We got an amazing tribal council. Like, we got some great Michaela moments, got some great Sandra moments. Overall, pretty great episode. Yeah.
As much as it was a little negative, but Henry Alford, I want to jump to this one real quick. Could the returning survivor be Natalie Anderson? She was oddly replaced by Ciara at the last minute.
I like Natalie Anderson, but didn't she not go on the season because she had a concussion?
Is that what it was? I didn't know what the reason was.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a physical reason.
Okay, I'm not sure. I didn't look that much into it. I just knew that she got cut for some reason.
I like her, but what does she do? What does this person do?
I don't know.
I think that, yeah, it is.
I don't know.
I'm asking questions I don't have the answer to.
Yeah. We have Gamer Girl. Where does Sandra taking the sugar rank with all other Sandra moments, like Sandra burning Russell's hat, Sandra spilling the fish? Note, I'm only posting backup questions now because I bring up anything that you guys bring up. This is I really like this question though. We've had some iconic Sandra moments. Where does this fit?
So Sandra burning Russell's hat, that happened right before the final tribal council, right? So At that point, it's like, whatever. This, she did it early, but I think she's still in whatever mode. Burning his hat was pretty great.
I still think this one might actually be better because that put Russell into a bad position and a weird mindset going into final tribal. The fish thing was great with, yelling at Johnny, fair play and stuff. But this one actually voted out another winner and got the target off her back at the same time. That's incredible.
That is pretty incredible. That's true. Russell, she didn't win Heroes versus Villains because she burned Russell's hat.
Exactly.
That was just in terms of comedic value, that one might win just a little bit, but the sugar was great. And I love when there's a lot of good camera play, and she played the camera so well. So that alone might be able to put it over the edge for me.
Absolutely. We have CVB. Is it just me or are the players not playing very well? There's a lot more to this comment.
Sam's playing pretty darn well.
There's a lot more to that comment, but Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty surprised that it's pretty much just Sandra who's playing like a really, really well game.
And Brad's
really,
playing
really
a good game. A really, really well game. And there we have it, kids.
A really, really well game. We've only seen Brad go to tribal once, though. I want to see Brad go to tribal a few more times because we've gotten a good edit from Brad. But what is he going to be like when he actually goes to these tribals? You know?
Yeah, I think Sierra's playing a good game too.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see because now it's going to get even more mixed up. I'm excited for next week. I love Exile Island. So we have Amy Tasty Fist. This is still my favorite. How can people still be down on this season when we have Sandra proving why she deserves 2 wins, JT giving those great callbacks to Heroes vs. Villains by trusting the wrong person, screwing up an idle play, and Debbie getting over the wall first?
Classic Survivor moment. Debbie got there first, and don't you forget it.
Don't you forget it. Oh God, I'm okay on this season as of now. It's had its ups and downs already. It's probably been the biggest roller coaster ride of a season in the first 4 episodes for me.
Yeah, I mean,
first 4 weeks.
It's quite the pre-merge. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Puppy Paws 245. So this is going to be our. I guess we'll do one more after this one. But Puppy Paws 245. What do you think about Michaela at Tribal? We touched on the twist next week, and then why did Sandra blame Michaela for the sugar, which made JT want to vote her off, even though Michaela seems to be Sandra's main ally? And I think I already said that one. That was just to take the target off Sandra's back.
It took the target off Sandra's back, and if Sandra's going to play the game of as long as it's not me, if Michaela goes home, Sandra can figure it out.
Exactly. Because she plays the exact opposite game of JT. JT plays, I want to win. I don't care about surviving one more day. Sandra plays I'm just going to survive one more day, and then I'll win. She even high-fived Michaela Knight and said, this is what I know how to do. I get to day 39. Like, she says it to everyone, and she's right still.
And they listen. It's bonkers.
It's insane. Giovanni Oriano, what is JT's better game? Heroes versus Villains or Game Changers? This is how we're ending the podcast here.
Oh, man. Heroes versus Villains.
Heroes versus Villains. He didn't play that bad in Heroes versus Villains. He made one blunder. This was just a disaster for him. And he had a chance to recover. He had an idol in his pocket that he got voted out with.
And Heroes versus Villains, let's assume everything goes right for JT. He gives the idol to Russell. He's a freaking hero, saves Russell, goes on and wins the game. If he gets what he wants and Sandra goes home last week, he still comes home to an angry tribe.
Yeah.
So I guess let's assume everything goes well for JT. What works better? Heroes versus Villains works better.
Agreed. I totally agree. Because this was just like he could have saved himself tonight, and he didn't. Heroes versus Villains, he was going for that. I'm going to take Russell on my side, like you said, and then go on to win the game. This was like, play your idol, man. Like you're at final 16, and you know you're on the bottom of this tribe. Play your idol.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where we're at. Wences Acosta, we got to start off with you in terms of the next episode. So we had this one's, it's not even short. I feel bad almost saying like we're cutting it short, but this is what, an hour and 20 minutes almost? Those used to be long for Will and I.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was my first time guest appearing. I think I was either with Will. My first time with Will interview, we podcasted for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, the one with me was really long. I don't really know why that happened. But we keep getting more comments. The comments are fun. But pretty much that is the episode. We're going to have to we'll cover, the rest of the comments on the next one, talk all about predictions. We'll have another preview before Sunday, which will be great. We'll let you know what time on Sunday. Could be a little bit later this time. But at least I'm really excited to see the next preview here because I think we'll get more of hints. We're going to be scouring Survivor Reddit to find out what the hell's going on.
Well, hopefully we'll see Chet's majestic blonde hair waving in the wind in a quick clip, and then we'll know that Chet is coming to save the Nuka tribe that is falling apart.
Exactly. And if it's not him, it's Michelle Fitzgerald to come and just save the season.
She was going
to be a reward, and then they'll just leave her out there on the island and be like, you know what, Michelle, here's another win for you. So you only want to win twice.
Wow. Let's say Michelle comes back and votes Sandra out. What would happen? We'd have to cancel the podcast. You'd be so happy.
I'd be so happy. We're getting into some real weird fan fiction. Because they said there's somebody else coming out.
And that being said, if you want to hear more weird fan fiction in Phil's Survivor fantasy, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a follow on Twitter at Phil and Will. Tweet us, comment on this video, and we'll bring it up in our predictions episode on Sunday. Follow us on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating because you love us. And yeah, so, well, we're going to be rewatching this episode, watching Haley make more sassy comments that we missed. And yeah, we will see you guys on Sunday.
I cannot wait.